Hello and welcome back to Buckle Up. I'm Harry King and this is the Hyundai Ioniq 9, Hyundai's new flagship product, the biggest car they've ever made. And today I'm going to find out if it's any good. Let's start as usual by talking about the front. This is a behemoth of a car. The overall size is massive and the front is similarly imposing to match. Obviously you've got the pixel lighting elements that we've come to know very well on these Hyundai Ioniq models. There's a sort of light bar here at the top. Right down here at the bottom you've got some active flaps which allow the car to be as aero as possible. You've also got this light cluster here which is your actual main lights, and then centered between that is a kind of translucent perspex pane that both fills in for where a grille would be normally in terms of kind of visually making the car look normal, but also allows them to very neatly hide all of the ADAS sensors, the LiDAR, that sort of thing, just behind this super sleek perspex panel. So you get what is a very, very smooth but bluff front on this. I really, really like the way it comes off. Also, importantly, you do get a frunk, and even better, there's no fiddling about under the latch anymore. There's a button on the interior that you double press and it's open like a BMW boot release sort of thing, or you can just press and hold on the key, and look, I can lift it here from the edge. On the entry-level rear-wheel drive powertrain, this is 88 litres. I believe in this all-wheel drive model it's 55 litres, but that means it's large enough for the tyre repair kit, a safety bag, your cables, and something else. There is still space in here for high-vis jackets, warning triangles, all those bits of clutter that you have to carry as part of just having a car to be safe or to be compliant. Now you can tuck them completely out of the way, but they're easily accessible. It's not like hiding them under the boot floor, where if you say driving to France and you've got 4 people's luggage in the back, then you have to turf that all out on the side of the road to get your warning triangle out. It's just there, easily accessible. I really like that. People don't use frunks enough. I'm hoping that now that they're starting to realise people don't want to be fiddling with hood latches all the time, maybe people will use them a bit more, but we'll see, I guess. There's also a nice sleek Hyundai badge here on the front as well. Now down the side, we continue with that very sleek, smooth look. There is this little channel running down the side, and there is this bit of body forming around here that ties this into other SUVs in Hyundai's wider range. They often have an interesting piece of folded metal on the side. I think that you get some kind of interesting elements that were first brought up with the Ioniq 6, that kind of a whole 20s Art Deco streamliner thing. This really, it sort of looks like a Pullman coach in my head somehow, or maybe a bit like Mallard or a streamlined train. Wheels. So you can start from 19s, which for most people will look quite diddy, but I really like a big sidewall, so I would be tempted. Those are 21s. You can see that there is still a very decent amount of sidewall, and I do really like the design of those alloys. I really like a multi-spoked wheel, although I don't ever wash my car, so if you're into washing your car, you probably hate them. We also get this little element above the wheel. In some trims, that's not body coloured. I don't know how I feel about that as a styling element. I guess they felt they needed to break up what is a very, very large area, potentially. I prefer it much more in body colour. Also, this has been fitted with the optional rear view mirror cameras or side mirror cameras. So instead of just having a normal wing mirror, what you get is that little clustered camera pod instead. It's not worth it. Let's just address it now rather than on the drive. I don't struggle to use them, actually. Some people hate using them. You lose your depth perception. You can't adjust them as much as normal mirrors. I find them perfectly usable. I don't see why I would spend an extra £1,000 on them over mirrors, because mirrors do just work and the range difference is very marginal. You also get these lovely pop-in, pop-out door handles, and what I do like about them is, even though they pop in and pop out, if I lock the car and I unlock it again, there you go, they pop back out nice and quickly as well, but then they do just work like normal door handles. You pull them out and there's a normal mechanical release, no electric button wizardry, which is you know, it's fine. I just find it, I always think, what happens if the battery's dead? What happens if it fails? Suddenly you have an £800 bill to repair your door rather than a £40 bill. I prefer this very much. I mean, if they could have no electric motors in them at all, that would be better in my mind, but never mind. Also, right here at the back, we have the charging flap. This is on the eGMP platform, which means it has a theoretical charging speed of something like 350 kilowatts. The car can't actually do that in real life. That's just something mathematically that would be possible if Hyundai wanted to let you ruin the battery. The actual maximum charging speed is written below because it escapes me right at this moment in time, but what I can tell you is on a 350 kilowatt charger yesterday, I was achieving a maximum speed of 160 kilowatt hours, charging from 30 to 80%. In the real world, that's very good, and it sustained that pretty much all the way up to 80%. Recharge happened in less than 20 minutes. Very, very impressive, and it's a big battery, 110 kilowatts, 106 usable. Absolutely massive. Speaking of massive, let's check out the back. Round here we find a very upright tailgate, which is a good thing because it should mean lots of space on the inside. Just before we dive into boot space though, allegedly this is a hands-free opening tailgate, and it does work sometimes, but apparently all you have to do is come and stand round the back with the key in your pocket, and then it should open. There we go, we got there in the end. In here, with all 6 seats in this one folded up, we get 338 litres of space, which is sort of super mini boot size. Very impressive in a 6 or 7 seater vehicle or 3-row vehicle. Of course, if you want an EV with lots of space behind the third row, there is the ID Buzz long wheelbase thing. But the only other rival is the sister car to this, the Kia EV9, which has 5 litres less. I do have some underfloor boot storage right here behind the third row. Mostly the space in it is taken up by the parcel shelf, but it is very nice that there's somewhere to stow that away when you are using that third row of seats. At the push of a button, you can drop both the third and second rows. If you just drop the third row, you get 908 litres of space. And if you want to drop all the rows in this Calligraphy edition, space then goes up to a cavernous 2,494 litres of space. Though because you've got 2 captain's chairs, it's quite awkward with all the gaps in what is a flat continuous load space. Yeah, then has great big crevasses within it. Loads of space for stuff though. Let's see how much space there is for me. Now, climbing into the third row should be quite an easy job because there is a huge amount of space in here. There's a push button release on this chair that allows me to fold it forwards and roll it away, and then a huge amount of space to climb in. My problem now though is I believe, it doesn't really have the best memory. However, the important thing to note is I have played with these chairs and climbed in and out of these rows to check, and I could comfortably sit in a car full of 6 of me, which is incredibly impressive. I actually think this is slightly more spacious than the Kia EV9, even though that does have a boxier exterior space. I've still got plenty of headroom. I'm a decent height off the floor. My knees are a little bit up, but not much. Got enough leg room. Even the fit and finish back here is really nice. I've got 2 USB-C charging ports. I've got a cup holder and a little cubby next to me as well. Just really impressive on the space front. Also, the materials are lovely. I've got perforated leather, 2-tone. I've got ISOFIX points back here as well. There's actually 4 ISOFIX points in this car. Same would be true of the 7-seater version as well. It's the middle outer seats and the 2 rear seats have ISOFIX. So if you've got 3 or 4 children who need to be in booster or child seats, this is one of a very few limited options that you can go with. Let me just rejig the seats though, and then I'll join you in the middle row. Just to be an example, this is the position this chair was in terms of leg room while I was sitting in the third row, and I actually still have loads of room. However, to explore the full luxury and offer, I will slide back. I could also, if I wished, recline quite a long way. I will sit up, however. for the purposes of this review. Basically, there's just a huge amount of space in this vehicle. These seats as well are very, very premium because this is the Calligraphy, as I've alluded to already. This is 2 captain's chairs in this middle row. These are heated and cooled, controlled here with this 3rd climate zone. I've got AC and temperature as well. Air vents in the ceiling. I have those in the 3rd row also. And also, the practicality is brilliant. I've got a nice big door bin. I've got 2 cup holders up here. I've got a nice big folder-style rear seat storage area. And also, this centre console, even though it's ostensibly for the front seat passengers, I can open it from the back here for easy access at the top. And actually, I'll get onto it in a bit, but there's also a drawer as well, which I can pull all the way out, which is just huge. I mean, it keeps going all the way through to there. Absolutely massive. I'll show you, but this also moves forwards and backwards to make it even easier if you want to use it more for your second row passengers. I've also got USB-Cs here on the sides of the seats. And if you're sitting in this seat here, you can control the front driver's seat from behind it as well to give yourself the maximum amount of leg room if you want to have it. You can get these as relaxed seats, I believe, which the front seats have, but it basically means they tilt back and there's a little footrest that comes up for if you're sitting and charging, though, as I have mentioned already, you're never sitting and charging for that long. So while it's a nice thing to have, I would say not particularly necessary. The materials, again, are just exquisite. It's the same 2-tone leather with the perforated seat base as well. And I've got armrests, which ratchet, and you can have them in your desired place. And I've got sun blinds, which is good because these windows are massive, although they do let lots of lovely sunlight in when you want them to. Pop this back down. I've also got a humongous panoramic sunroof, which the second row fully benefits from. Really, it's hard to see how much better it can get in the front, but shall we find out? How to even begin up here? I mean, yes, it is even nicer than the second row. Let's start with seating position. Excellent. Top tier work. I've got loads of headroom. I set mine all the way low. I feel nicely cocooned within the vehicle, but still like I'm imposing over other drivers because I'm in my humongous Ioniq 9. And again, the materials as well, this 2-tone, I really, really like it. I've got kind of interesting, it's not wood, but I think it's sort of designed to look like future walnuts. On the dash it says Calligraphy. This is the only thing I don't like in this interior. This is just sticky. I don't know if that's because this car gets detailed once a week to be lent out to journalists, but that means that even if that isn't sticky from brand new, it might be eventually for everyone. Not a huge fan of that, but everything is soft touch and a nice material. Let's go to cubbies next, because again, there's a lot. This center console I was talking about, so I can do this, can move it backwards and forwards, so I can take it all the way back there if I want to make it kind of a step through cabin for me, and also make it nice and accessible for the people in the back, or I can move it all the way far forwards if I want it there, so that my drinks are in a very convenient place, or I want easy access to this humongous center console storage area. Let's try and go through this. So I showed you there's a drawer in here as well, and the reason it's also big is you lift this out, and then this actually goes all the way down into the drawer. And at the end of the drawer, there's a divider, because actually the space goes all the way underneath the cup holders here. So, I mean, I'm fully inside this now. But just a huge amount of space. It's the same sort of setup you get in the Hyundai Santa Fe, which we actually demonstrated in a triple test, was basically the most practical car ever invented. This top section also feels like it might be refrigerated to me, but it's certainly nice and cool. 2 cup holders up here, wireless charger, no ventilation for this, which is a shame, although it's a raised centre pad with airflow underneath it, so it's kind of okay. But I've got another pad down here where there's a space for the key. I think that's where you'll put it if it's struggling to detect it as well, but that's grippy. And at the bottom there's another cubby storage, and that has UVC kind of cleaning. So if you want to put your phone in there and get rid of all the bugs on it, you can stick it in there, bathe it in UV light, nuke it from orbit just to be safe. I've also got a very large, well-damped glove box. It goes right in underneath the dash, although The front lid is just a lid, so you really have to reach into it, but that's fine if it's lots of storage. Big door pockets again up here at the front. And then technology. So number one, Hyundai do this and I love it. They have a separate area for the climate controls. There is still a touchscreen here, which I'd prefer if there wasn't, but it means that the climate controls are always where you expect them to be. The only thing I can do is swap front to rear, which kind of justifies why there's a separate screen in here, because you need you need double the amount of buttons that are currently here to have a control for everything. You do still get proper temperature dials you can just twist up and down as well, which is good. Heated and cooled seats, just like in the back, and a heated steering wheel, and multi-zone climate control. Also, I get media controls and shortcut buttons here, including a rotary volume knob, and it's also a rotary volume knob on the steering wheel, which again, nailing it. And then the dual screens. So this one is my gauge cluster. As we know, it's configurable. If you move through your drive modes, you tend to get little animations, flash of red for sport. There's my drive if you want to set up your own specific settings for each thing. But also, this one on the left, it's the usual Hyundai Kia system. It's nice and responsive. The maps within it are a little slow to calculate, but the rest of the interface is nice and easy to use. It looks very slick and very modern. And also, you get wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. That is also very slick and works very well. Here, on this side, I don't know if you can see that in that camera, but this is my wing mirror. They're angled at the same angle on both sides. If you're a shorter driver, they're easy to see, but the further back you get, the kind of worse the angle becomes, and there's no way of adjusting that. That's the other downside of those. Again, I can still see it okay. I am 5'11" or 180 centimeters, but if you're much over 6 foot, it's really going to start becoming a visibility issue. I've got 3 USB-C chargers and a 12-volt socket hidden behind a little trapdoor, which I very much enjoy opening and closing. All the controls you'd expect, again, smart cruise and audio ones on the steering wheel. I've got paddles for my regen to increase or decrease it on the fly. Gear selector is here, column shifter behind the steering wheel, including the start-stop button on it, so it's nice and easy to find and easy to reach, and conventional indicators and windscreen wipers as well. Hyundai have just smashed this out of the park. It's combined everything that's brilliant about the Ioniq series cars with everything that's brilliant about the way Hyundai approaches their larger, more premium vehicles. And it means that this feels like a premium offering. This would not be out of place up against an Audi or a BMW. Shall we find out, though, if it drives as well as one of those cars? Okay, so driving the Hyundai Ioniq 9 in Calligraphy. Let's start with some basic facts and figures. So this is the all-wheel drive performance, which means it gets both front and rear motors, and it has a combined output of 435 PS and 700 Newton meters of torque, all available from 0 RPM, which means this goes from 0 to 62 in 5.2 seconds, which is fast. It's kind of outrightly fast. That is hot hatchback fast in something that is bigger than a Range Rover. So, punchy performance. Then we get onto range. This is available with 3 power outputs, so I'm going to try and go through all of them. There's a base entry model that has kind of 225 PS, rear wheel drive only. That is your longest range option. Then there is a standard all-wheel drive model with the kind of 325, 330 PS motors that you get in the higher output Ioniq 5 and Ioniq 6. Then you have this performance one. All of them have a WLTP of well over 350 miles. But then, I think even more impressively, in the real world, I've not been struggling to get efficiency that would let me have over 300 miles of range out of this variant. And that's not 300 miles of eco driving, that's 300 miles of just normal driving. I've done motorway journeys, driven on country lanes, I've driven around town, all of it is fine. Partially it's because the battery is so humongous, but you can quite easily achieve 3 miles per kilowatt hour in this car, which may not sound like a lot, but it is impressive for something this size and weight. The other thing that's really impressive, speaking of that, is it doesn't feel intimidating to drive. Even though it's very powerful and very big and very heavy, it's a breeze to kind of maneuver. It does have a big turning circle. A lot of people seem to have complained about that. I've not struggled with it. I don't think it's crazy that a vehicle of this size would have a turning circle of over 12 metres. I am used to driving around in big vans and pickup trucks, so take that with a pinch of salt, I guess. And it's also just such a nice, refined, lovely driving experience. The steering is very light. It is quite exact though. It's not very dead on centre, but it's just very, very light and easy to use. The pedal input's also very light, delicate and easy to use, easy to modulate. The brakes feel good, even though this is big and heavy and has regen to deal with. They're very well judged. On the motorway, it's fairly quiet. I've got these kinds of acoustic control pips in the ceiling. They're supposed to be active noise cancelling. I don't know if there's a way to turn that on and off to kind of blind test it, but from my experience, it's been just lovely and refined and very relaxing and comfortable. Excellent long distance cruiser, and thanks to that recharge speed, that's doubled, because then you could drive 300 miles, recharge it in 20-25 minutes and be on your way again. And after 300 miles, you're going to want a 20-minute break. I know I do anyway. What else is there to tell you? It's just that the car is absolutely lovely. Honestly, I know it's important to critique. I've mentioned the turning circle. Some people have said it's noisy on the motorway. I don't think I agree with them. I don't have a problem with it. I don't know if this is optional and they've had a lower trim car that doesn't have it fitted. Potentially that's the case, or they've had the cars with bigger wheels. I think they go up to 22. But the ride's lovely. These cars, the Ionic cars, all of them are excellent. And they are, I think, my favourite range of electric cars. Whenever anyone says, "Oh, Harry, you drive a lot of cars. What do you think's the best electric car?" I always say Hyundai. And people who aren't in our world, who aren't into cars and haven't been paying attention, some of them still think of Hyundai as the budget Korean brand that does the i30 and the Gets. And they don't quite appreciate how much the game has moved on. And I don't know, some people don't believe me always when I say I would have one of these over an Audi or a BMW or a Mercedes. But that's really genuinely how I feel. And I don't feel like I'm not doing that because there's like such a great value offering here. I mean, there is as well, but it's also like, from a money no option point of view, I don't feel like anything is missing here. They've just, this is just a fantastic car. I am absolutely gushing now, though, aren't I? So let's go back and do a conclusion. I think you can see where this is going. So that is the Ioniq 9 tested. And what am I thinking? Well, I'm thinking this is a brilliant car. Like, really properly good. I feel like this isn't getting the fanfare it really deserves because this current pushback against EVs, and the Ioniq 5 was such a statement when it came out that it's hard to keep replicating that. But I really, truly believe this deserves to be shouted about from the rooftops. I love the range, I love the power, I know it's expensive, but it's so nice on the inside. I'd much rather have this than a premium badged rival. Absolutely excellent. Absolutely excellent. Well done, Hyundai. Cannot strongly recommend this enough. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like this video if you've enjoyed it. Comment down below, tell me what you think about the Hyundai Ioniq 9. And most importantly, subscribe. If you go down into the description, you'll find all the links to all our social medias. Please do follow us there as well. You will also find 2 ways that you can directly support the channel. So we've got merchandise and we've also got channel memberships right here on YouTube. So please go and do one or all of those things, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.